Drop it.
Hello, everybody.
What's going on, you degenerates? How's it going?
It's going pretty good, man. Very kind of slow day. I mean, they all kind of saw me earlier. We took that one trade, and that was it. Nice little. It was up 30% at one point, but we were using that stop loss strategy, and still ended up getting out with about 20, which was sweet.
Oh, that is sweet. That is really, really sweet. All right, guys. Prince City, what's up? Listen, stop losses, right? We talk about this, and actually we were talking about it in our stream earlier today. It's essentially defending your profit, and if the indicators are telling you something other than what you believe, trust the indicator more than you trust your gut.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
That's it. All right,
And we
guys,
are public today. We are public.
We are public. For those who are just wondering what the hell are we doing here, like, hey, these guys are public. Well, link down in the description. You'll understand. You'll get caught up to speed. Also, guys, for the OGs and those who are onboarding and just getting started, tonight we will have a live stream where we roll back the hands of time and give you that refresher on what the 1348 strategy and system is all about. And don't miss it, because, you know, the light bulb might go off for one of you or some of you or most of you. And you're like, oh, that's what I was missing. All right. STV, take it away. What are we looking at this week?
Well, we'll get into that. But for all of you guys that are in here right now that are not in with us yet, you guys actually do get a 3-week free trial and all the curriculum videos and the live stream tonight. So if you're curious, now's a great day to hop in. But this week is probably the craziest fucking week of the year. And it's interesting that it's coming towards the end as well, because we have CPI data coming out fucking tomorrow morning at 8:30 in the morning. And then the next day we get Powell with the rate hike. Now, that rate hike coming on Wednesday, everybody's going to be watching this. There's a debate between 50 and 75. I still think that they're going to go with 50, but the implications and the statements made by Powell are going to be really important. So Wednesday at 2 p.m. is when the actual report is coming out. So you'll know what the rate hike is then. And at 2:30 is when the press conference happens. So what is this? Here's what I would expect to see out of Powell. He's essentially going to come out. This is my bold Powell prediction, that he's going to say, okay, we've read the data. We're going to be moving from 75 basis point rate hikes to 50. But this is not a sign that we are pivoting. We still have a long way to go to get to levels at which are sufficiently restrictive. That's going to be important language. If he says anything around the lines of we need to still like get to a point where our rates are or our policy is sufficiently restrictive to get us down to our 2% inflation target, that means no pivot. We still have a long way to go, and we're going to continue with these rate hikes and looking at the data as we go along. So a lot of people's expectations of what are going to happen are going to kind of move around after Wednesday. So this is the last rate hike of the year. It is December. There's not going to be another one. But then going into 2023 is where things get very interesting. Are we going to slip into a recession? How much higher are rates actually going to go? And when we hit terminal, this is the important question now that comes next, is how long are we actually going to stay at those elevated rates before he actually pivots? That's the question that nobody has the answer to right now, not even the Fed members. So it's a lot of uncertainty that could be coming out on Wednesday.
You know, I think the pivot is going to be based on the severity of just utter destruction in our economy.
Yeah.
I really think that the severity is going to force the Fed's hands. Listen, this is a unique situation where inflation, I mean, we have the wage price spiral that's getting under control. It seems to be getting under control, right? The thing is that, well, we see housing still inflated. We see, interest rates going up. That means, like, for instance, used cars. This is funny. Now, this is really, really wild. And man, I really feel like they're pulling the wool over everybody's eyes here, right? Because let's say a used car a used car plummets 20-30%, right?
Mhm.
But the actual value of that car over a 4 or 5, maybe even a 7 year loan with the current interest rates, the value of that car stays elevated. I mean, you almost pay 20% more on the car with the current interest rate. So as a
Mhm.
consumer, it's just like, okay, what do we do here? But how far do we push it? I mean, a $650,000 home a year ago, a year and a half ago, you could probably have for $2,700. Now
Mhm.
it's 4,000
Mhm.
with the current
People just
interest
can't
rates.
afford those homes anymore just with their income. So they're gonna just be taken out of that little section of the market and get stepped down. So then they go into the renters market because they still need somewhere to stay. But if there's more demand and not as much supply, rents are going to continue to go up and then pump CPI even more. So it's a little bit of a vicious cycle here that we're in. And you need to see. So what I think is going to happen, and this is what I think is going to be the most likely outcome, is that Powell's going to essentially say, screw all the noise. I don't care what people are saying about recession. I mean, he does. He's going to be watching those unemployment numbers, but he's going to be reading this data and say, this is a really big turning point in like the United States. That if he can't figure this out and if he backs off too early, we are going to have years and years and years of really, really shitty markets and economy. So he's towing a fine line here where the actual side that he needs to err on, and if you're gonna make a mistake, the mistake is overshooting it. That's a good mistake to make because you can still bring things back in. Undershooting it and not getting the job done, and you have persistent inflation of like 4 to 5% is bad. If that happens, you're gonna see a lot of turmoil. So he has to execute very well over these next 6 to 8 to 12 months in order for us to really get back on track. So
Ye-
after that happens, again, if you look at the data, actually in the money, Adam made a video about this that I saw over the weekend about what happens after the Fed actually pivots. I had seen some of this data before, but it was very interesting to see it a little bit more drawn out. That most of the time, that when the Fed does pivot, you see a decrease in equity prices. And there's a couple of different reasons for this too, which kind of makes sense to everybody. When you think, let's just say here that you are in, let's say that our rates are at zero. Now, if our rates are at zero and markets are ripping, you would assume that the economy is in a decent spot. So when they raise rates, they're cooling things down. So it would kind of signal to you that the economy is in a decent spot. They just don't want to overcook it. When they start backing off and cutting rates, it means that the economy is not in a good place and they need to get things back on track. And that's where the pivot comes. So it would make sense that if everybody then sees that the Fed is saying that things are in a shitty spot, well, then equities would sell off. Now, eventually they will come back up as you're in a decreasing interest rate environment. But that initial couple of moves off of those initial rate decreases could be to the downside.
All right, and well, guys, that's a lot of information, right? That's ear candy. If you listen to
Sorry.
STV, one of the most brilliant men in the game right now, right? Very, very aware, has his pulse in the markets. But now we have to ask a very common sense question. How long does it take to repair decades worth of cheap money policy?
That's the question. That's why when everybody says pivot, I just scream, "You're a moron." Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't make any sense. Like, people think that the issue, like, if you don't have, like, experience in markets and haven't been, like, learning about this stuff for years, you'll look at the situation and you'll think about it too narrowly. You'll say, "Okay, 2020 was bad, markets were crashing, we had a really bad situation, and the Fed started turning on the money printer." But that's not yeah, that is a giant problem of what happened, but that issue, the whole actual core of the issue of money printing and low interest rates, has been going on since like 08, 09.
Yes.
So when you think about it like that, we've actually had like 12, 13, 14 years of these types of things happening. So are you going to try and unwind the entire thing? I don't think they're going to. I think they're going to try and get inflation back down to 2%, their target, and then let things go. Um, if they can accomplish that, I think we'll be good within like 2 years. I think 2 or 3 years, I think we'll be back to some sort of normalcy. But in the meantime, this type of volatility is so great for people like us trying to capture those short-term moves in the market. Because without
So great.
like without Powell coming in and all of this data and everybody watching these very specific data points and moving money around accordingly, you wouldn't see these crazy moves. Like before 2020, if you said that the SPY moved 2.5, 3% in a day, you'd be like, what? Did somebody like do something fucking wild? Like did the like it doesn't like usually doesn't move this crazy. So when we see moves like this, this is the time to make some money and then prepare for those long-term investments.
Exactly, exactly. So we were asked if we're trading on the stream. Absolutely. We're looking at Amazon. She's got her cross here, but you do have a level now. She's holding this level here with this candle. Now you got a level here at 88.87. If you were playing into this cross, you made money. Now, when we talk about managing risk, what's on the other side of this trade? We don't know. What are you currently sitting on this trade? If you're up 5-10%, that is the only guarantee, right? Be objective with your portfolio, not subjective, guys. I mean, be objective, right? You're looking at the overall performance of the market being down, depending on how you measure it with inflation, 16 to 19%, but you are afforded an opportunity to be up 5-10% on a play. Just keep things in perspective, guys. All right? Keep it in perspective. Now, you're absolutely right. Amazon is below the 200 EMA. So you're short-lived on this play, right? We're not biased to the call until we get price action above the 200 EMA, right? Right now, guys, you're trading against a trend. Does it mean you can't make money? No. It means you can scalp it, but your expectation is this is a quick in and out. This is not a marriage. This is a one-hit wonder, one-night stand. Wham, bam,
Yeah, you're
thank
right
you,
below
ma'am.
the 200.
Because
You're
you're
right below that 200.
Yeah.
The other thing that I want everybody in here to understand and a concept that I think is very helpful is you need to be more reactionary, less predictive. Leave the predictions to Pythagoras and Invictus. They're better at it than you are. If you're reactionary in the market, you're going to have a better chance of being able to get these quick in and outs. If you're trying to predict things, that's when those bigger losses start to stack up, especially this week with CPI and Powell coming out. Be reactionary, not predictive.
There you go. This is a great example of adhering to the rules, right? So when price action was below the 200 EMA here with AMD, that move to the downside was magnified, right? Because price action was going along with the trend. Now, you did get this reversal here where it found the 200. And if you guys were watching the streams, we say when the market hits a level and consolidates at a major level, which is the 200 EMA, you have to take a step back and wait for it to pick a direction. In this case, price action went above the 200 EMA, so therefore your move was far more pronounced, right? Because now you are bucking the trend, you broke the trend, now you're riding the trend, right? Above the 200 EMA. You do have the blue pill line here, which was established, I believe, in the stream earlier today, which we found here back in December 7th, right? 69.84 at or about, right? That is your level. And what you're seeing is price action, guys, again, we be objective, not subjective. Objective would say, okay, we broke a level. What do we do? Well, I want to make money, right? Because I like money. I want to keep my money, right? I'm following a system, and the system is leading me to victory. Why am I going to disrespect the system? I know at this point, if it's going to consolidate, it's a very real chance that is going to come on down. And what's our first clue, guys? Well, you had this elevated RSI came right down into its moving average, right? And you could see that the moving average has sort of kind of reached an apex. Now you have the RSI in itself crossing below. Now, what do these green bars on the histogram mean to us? Well, it means you're losing momentum. Of course, there could be continuation to the upside, but guys, if you're playing options, there's one thing you have to keep in mind. For every additional candle you're holding, you have theta decay. Like it might seem small, it might be non-existent. And the thing is like it's Monday, so it's Monday. If you're playing for Friday, that's cool. Theta might not really be affecting you, but what if you trade it like theta was affecting your profits? Right? You keep that mindset, right? If you keep that mindset, you're respecting your trades. right? Theta hasn't necessarily kicked in. It'll start kicking in by when? Wednesday, STB? It'll really start
Well,
accelerating?
yeah. Well, within 30 days to expirations where it really starts to pick up. And then as you get closer, it's just more and more and more and more.
Yeah. So on something like this, right, you have to trade. Like you have the boogeyman trying to take your money,
Mhm.
right? So the longer you're in the market, the boogeyman wants your money. Okay. And what this is doing is it's reinforcing good behavior to secure the bag, take a profit, wait for the next alert, wait for the next trade. You guys in this community have an abundance of alerts. Not like these other discords where it's follow me trades and you got one human being like trying to scour their screeners for the perfect trade. You're only getting 2 or 3. We're giving you how many a day? I've seen as much as like 200 in a day, right?
Mhm.
So you guys always have opportunity and you're alerted on that opportunity.
The
Let's see.
one thing about AMD too,
Yes.
at this point, I'd be hunting for a reversal.
Oh, absolutely. Let's
This
go back
look
to that chart.
this looks like it's setting up. It could do it. It's the risk reward here isn't bad. 70.25 is the previous high. If you get enough time on these contracts, if you get a day high break, you're not going to be down very much. You've got that blue pill line right there. You also have the 13 EMA, RSI below its moving average, MACD losing its bullish momentum. I'd want to see a little bit more in order for this one to start to play out, but that would catch my eye here. I don't think I'm going to take any more trades today unless something looks really good, but this looks kind of similar to a lot of the reversal plays that I take a lot. The risk reward there looks filthy. So maybe a little bit later I would look closer into that one, but that looks very similar to the Netflix trade that I took on Friday and how I play these reversals. And I'll have that reversal video coming out for you guys soon. I might remake a public one for you guys coming out tonight.
All right. Yeah, Gio, you asked a really good question. What would you look for in a reversal? And the thing is that tells me you haven't really mastered the strategy, because if you mastered the strategy, you would have known exactly what to look for. But the
It's an
thing is, we'll
expansion on our rule.
reiterate that for you this evening. Tune
Mhm.
on in. We'll break it down for you. Okay.
Mhm.
Let's go ahead and look at Apple.
Yeah, Apple hasn't been able to get above that 200 EMA all day. It's slipping back down to VWAP right now.
Oh boy. Yes. Now I'm looking at it here and I'm not liking it. I see RSI converging into its moving average and the MACD is fairly thin. I want to show you guys something here, right? The MACD peak to the downside, right? Much stronger than the MACD development to the upside. Now, why is that? It's because price action is below the 200 EMA. So you still have to have the expectation that price action will continue to go down. Now, somebody went ahead and asked about Disney. You wanted to talk about Disney and what happened with Disney. Well, guys, we covered Disney in the stream if you were watching it. And
Look
we
at
talked
that.
about these levels.
That looks sexy there.
That looks sexy, but it looks like it's ready to die. Now, if I'm wrong, I really don't care. I'm out of this play already. That's the thing, right? You guys knew when we were talking about it on the stream, when that cross was developing, we had our levels and you rode into those levels until they were established here. Now, once you see that consolidation, knowing that your levels are right here, instinctively, what should you do? STB, what would you do?
Levels? Oh, if I was in calls, I would have been out of here. Unless I was using the stop loss strategy and just wanted to let the trade go, I'd probably be out there. I would have at least scaled out of this trade by now with almost all of the position, and then just use the stop loss strategy for whatever remaining meat on the bone there is. If it wants to break those day highs and run, if it doesn't, you'd have your stop already in profit at a very significant amount. So you're completely you have no risk back on the trade.
No risk back on the trade.
That's how I would have. That's how I would play that one.
Oh, absolutely. Now, is Tesla reversing? Now, this is one of those things, right? You know, I really love how retail will scream like, oh, SPY, Tesla ripping, right? But when you really, really take a macro perspective in it and just really zoom out, sometimes, you can see that all this is just some degenerosity here. That's what this is, right? Is it reversing? I'm not quite too sure. Why? You have the blue pill line here. You also have this level here at 172.83. It would take a great deal of momentum. Now, guys, look at your histogram here. a great
Mhm.
deal of momentum to reverse from this. Look at your MACD here. Do you see how developed and pronounced this is here? Right?
Mhm.
Now look at what's developing here. Like, yes, you got that move to the upside, but I'm not convinced here. Look at that MACD. It hasn't developed, it hasn't matured. So
Mm-mm.
what you can do is essentially trade it, as a scalp, and then have an expectation. You have a take profit at 5%, 10%, and or the blue pill line. But you're using the RSI here to guide you through the trade, which it is because currently it's over 50, which is telling us that the trend is continued to the upside, right? But it's going to take equal or greater amount of momentum to print here on this histogram to completely break out of this trend here, which is very, very strong here. You guys see it. It's huge. It's monstrous. Okay. Let's see. Look at 12/8/22 Tesla. Looks like the same pattern as today. We don't care, Michael.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't go off like the pattern of what it looks like. It's just not. Here's the thing. It's any time that you're looking at anything in the market to think of a trading strategy, you have to develop what's called an edge. And we've talked about this a lot. And an edge, all it is a higher probability of one outcome happening over another. Now, in this scenario right here, is there some probability that Tesla follows the same exact pattern of 12/8? Yes. Is it high enough for me to put my money at risk? No. That's how I view patterns. They're just not high enough probability to entice me to put my own capital at risk, if that makes sense. Is it possible? Yes. Just not possible enough or probable enough for me to then go out and say, this is what I want to do. It's just not as replicatable. Like you could find any pattern on the market if you wanted to, but it doesn't mean that that's going to happen again. Past results don't predicate future action or whatever
Yeah, yeah.
the
The
thing is
market,
in
the
the market.
market, the market has absolutely no obligation to repeat. Absolutely none.
Mhm. It
Right?
could reverse. We do have that level there, but we'll see. The SPY's already up a decent amount today. It's hunting up towards the magnet zone that we were talking about this morning, the 396 to 396.50. So we'll see.
All right. To drive your point further home, I want you guys to look at this pattern. You see a pattern here? No, I just see death. Right?
Mhm,
Play the trend. This is Carvana,
mhm.
376, now trading at 491. AMC apes, you think you got it bad? Ooh, Carvana, people are jumping out of their cars, literally. Well, I don't mean it like that. I hope they don't. At least not on the I-4. Don't make my commute longer than it needs to be. All right, but guys, just trade the charts. That's what they're there for.
Yeah. Invictus is 5 for 8 today, and it looks like it's going to get another one from Apple right now.
Let's go ahead and check
Maybe in a
out
bit.
Invictus performance. So Invictus is trading at 63% currently, but it looks like Apple, we got that. That should happen. Let's take a look at Oxy, STV. There was a time in your life where all you did was play Oxy, like you were hooked on
Oxy's
it.
fun. If you get your risk reward in check, Oxy's a great stock to play. The problem is I like to call it mini Tesla. And it's not like how Tesla is now. It's how Tesla used to be pre-split. So you got to be really careful with Oxy. It loves to have a mind of its own. You can have some great gains on it. The spreads can get a little messed up. I haven't traded Oxy in forever. The oil stock that I actually play now is Exxon. I'll play Exxon when I see oil moving. It moves a little bit smoother. It still jumps around, but it's almost a better risk reward for what can happen with the stock and the wicks and how big it wants to move.
Okay. Let's look at CVS here. I'm glad you brought this up, right? Crazy enough, this blue pill line didn't auto-generate itself. It found itself some point in time when we talked about it and we drew this line, and you could see it just literally gravitates to it, right? So stock prices do have muscle memory. With that being said,
Mhm.
you did break this blue pill. Uh, Honestly, CVS doesn't owe you any more than what she's already given you after you've taken that call, if you decided
Yeah.
to take that call.
Yeah.
We're, we're,
I would
we're,
agree with that.
yeah, I'm not giving you any analysis on this trade because if she continues to run, what's going to happen is you're going to have people chase it, right? And I'm not, yeah, I'm not going to do that to you guys, all right? So that's CVS. Take your profit. Really, really simple.
Hmm.
UPST, Upstart, crossing down potentially. You do have
That's
the,
another one. What price is this at? Gabe, zoom out on this thing on like the weekly or the daily. That thing got murdered too, like Carvana.
oh, damn.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay. Guys, there's another way to look at this as well. With the market just literally just being so cheap, right? There's an actual okay, STV. I'm gonna
Yeah.
ask you, how
Uh-huh.
many of these companies that were pumped in 2021, right? And seeing this type of valuation now, right? Just dumping from the 400s. Do you think they are in a position to survive what's to come? It's almost like all
No,
these. Yeah, I think
I don't think they are.
no, I don't think they are either. It's kind of like the dot-com bubble. That's what I feel like we're going to be seeing.
Mhm.
We're going to be seeing a lot of
Well,
companies,
so
and
the
this could include GME. GME has a cash burn of like over 90 million. Just this last quarter, they're losing money, right?
yeah.
Um, everybody's losing
S-
money. It's survival of the fittest at this point, right? And who are the
Yeah.
most fit companies? It's your blue chips. It's your Microsofts, your
Mhm.
Apples, it's your Teslas. It's those guys, dude. Those guys,
Mhm.
and they're cheap. So if you're going to build
Yeah,
out
what
your long-term
happens
portfolio,
is
go ahead.
like what we've really seen happen is that when you have like newer companies, and they're in a like a hyper growth space, they're gonna trade on what's called a higher multiple, just because the market is expecting them to have and live up to the hype of what they've said that they can develop over X time horizon. So what happens is that their discount rates are pretty low, which means that their present value ends up being higher based on whatever cash they're generating right now. Then what happened? Okay, you see rates go even lower. You see a bunch of money get pumped into the market and everybody goes risk on. So they're throwing money at high risk and these valuations go sky high. And like Gabe says, what goes up must come down. So what happens is that when these rates start to go up, the discount rates go up too. Now, if their revenues were able to stay the same, you'd see a hit in their present value, which is what it should technically be valued at by the market at the current time. There's always different things to take into account, though. But what's also happened is that their revenues are down. So they're not, it's like a double whammy. They're getting hit by higher discount rates and lower revenues coming into this year. So then they just get absolutely murdered. Also, things are starting to move interesting here. SPY got a nice pop. So did AMD. AMD is starting to slip that 13 now. So let's
Yeah,
see what
there you
happens
go.
here.
Blue pill line for the win here, right? You could see the spy is just really having a hard time here. Guys, listen, right? If you want to go ahead and give yourself a competitive advantage in the market and start winning, right? So I'm going to be frank. STV, I love this
Yeah.
kid, right? He keeps his finger on the pulse. The way I trade with what's in front of me. I don't read the news, right? I don't listen to the Kramers. I listen to nothing. I don't, right? Now, this guy's brilliant. He understands the mechanics and he's sharing the mechanics with you guys, right? But if you learn this strategy, all we have to do is follow the chart. Guys, you knew
Mhm.
this was going to happen. Look at that
Yep.
spy
This was
dot.
a bond auction. So let's see. We have US 9-year, 11-month notes, 3.625%, allotted at high, 16.9. So this reaction out of the 10-year treasury right now is a big sale. They're selling the shit out of treasuries right now going into CPI and Powell. So
Ooh.
TLT is getting hit off of that. SPY ripped right in the exact middle of my magnet zone. 396 and 396.50 got rejected very hard and is now starting to come back down. But let's see what happens with it.
Oh yes, guys. Let me tell you how these charts and our strategies the truth. Right, you have the blue pill line right there. You see the top of that wick, literally right here, established.
Mhm.
Guys, you knew what was happening. You knew what was happening. You saw the level of resistance. You saw RSI converging into its moving average, and you saw the convergence of the MACD. And again, right? This is not very bullish momentum. This is not convincing. This mound
No, it's
here,
weakening.
man, never. So you would have to assume that something like this could happen.
Yep.
Don't chase.
Corey's asking, is there a dollar amount that has to be settled at all times? I mean, if you're trading in a cash account, as long as you have some amount of cash settled, you can continue to trade. If you blow through all of your settled cash, which you should not be doing, if you're following the rules, that means you would have taken 10 trades in a day. That's way too many. If you do end up blowing through your settled cash, you can have what's called a good faith violation, where they'll just restrict you from buying with unsettled funds.
That's it. So go cash.
Mhm.
Eric says, I haven't day traded a day in my life, but I'm going to start. Okay, listen, Eric. All right. I kind of like a guy like you, honestly. You know why? Because we could, yeah, you're like a virgin. You don't have any bad habits.
Mhm. It's true. Unless he does with the buy and hold nonsense, with I'm just going to keep averaging down and all that crap. But
Yeah, no bad habits. Tabasco side. Let's see. Ready for market dump? Yes. Morrow. I like to do 3-4, so I have to be picky on my trades.
smart.
Smart. Be picky, right? High probability setups.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Hold the
5K
trade first.
squeeze, man. The fuck you doing in here, bro? Like Bruce Jenner better than Diana? What are you saying, man? Like,
This dude's on a little. I told you 5K squeeze. If you keep talking nonsense, we're gonna time you out consistently. Stop.
Jesus.
He was
Banned.
saying some wild stuff in the Discord one time, and we just said no, none of that. So you can. Here's what's gonna happen. 5K squeeze. You're gonna come back into the live chat, and you're gonna say, "I apologize for acting this way," and then we're gonna be perfectly fine, and we're gonna continue. If it's anything other than that, and you keep going, I'll just keep banning you.
Yeah, well, I think he just got insta banned. Did you ban him?
Yeah, I timed him out. He's got 5 minutes to think about his actions.
Freaking clown. All right, guys, we have given you more than you deserve. It is now 1 o'clock. STV is going to jump on his live stream at 1:30.
Mm-hmm.
He will go ahead and guide you to victory. With that being said, anybody and everybody who wants to get in on this and learn the most simplest trading strategy out there that has proven itself time and time again, check out the link down in the description, right? Get 21 days free as it stands. And
3-week
join
free
us.
trial.
Yeah, free trial. You get a free trial. And join us tonight. Come as a noob. And we will give you the keys to the kingdom. That's all we can say. So
Mm-hmm. Also, I believe you posted that new trading video too on your channel. So everybody, make sure you guys go check that one out too.
oh yes, the MACD video. I will go ahead and do individual indicator videos. So first up was the MACD. I'm working on the RSI video. Then we're going to get into support and resistance type things. And what we're doing is we're compounding into the development of the 1348 strategy. So if you go through that video series, you're like, oh, this makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Time tonight, were we doing it 8 o'clock?
8. Yeah, we'll go at 8.
8 Eastern time, guys. That's when we will be
Mm-hmm.
live. Check out that link down in the description. Seriously, it's 21 days free. You're risking nothing. Get yourself a paper trade account and follow along with us, and we will make a believer out of you absolutely risk free. We're so confident
Just like
in
all of
our
our other
system.
thousands of members.
Yeah,
Just like all of our other thousands of members have come in, tested it out, took a chance on us, and then said, "Yep, this is what we want to do." So if you want to join I say it's the best trading community on the planet. We have the best tools and indicators, and we're just going to continue bringing you guys the best stuff.
absolutely. Absolutely. Wait, can we just ban 5K squeeze before we end the stream?
He is in
Woo.
timeout.
Yes. So yes, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna keep the short videos. I try to do it under 5 minutes, and obviously you can slow it down at your own pace. Rewatch it, rewatch it, rewatch it. But we're gonna build on the system, and then you guys are ready to take our trades. I mean, some beautiful stuff here. Anyways, guys, we're signing out. Check out link in the description. We will see you tonight.
Let's do it.
He'll see you in like 12 minutes.
20 minutes.